Space may seem pretty far from here. In reality, it's only about 60 miles north, and the routes of space travel are even closer than you might think. Not at NASA, not at a secret base somewhere, but on the 9th fairway on a golf course in Auburn, Massachusetts, where Robert Goddard launched the first liquid-fueled rocket.
He's often referred to as the forgotten father of modern rocketry.
Nestled on a quiet street in Worcester, Massachusetts, stands a modest home that once cradled the dreams of a boy who would change the world.
Such a brilliant visionary.
1 Talawanda Drive was the birthplace and lifelong home of Robert Hutchings Goddard.
He was determined he's going to find a way to do that, to get them some way to go to the moon or to Mars.
And he did it.
Yep.
His visions for a spacecraft propelled him to attend Worcester Polytechnic Institute. He went on to earn his doctorate at Clark University, where he taught physics and carried out countless rocket experiments.
He published a paper in the early 1900s before he even tried to build a rocket, and the New York Times immediately assailed him with a scathing article. I think the quote is something like, "Dr. Goddard, despite his chair of physics, doesn't have the most basic understanding that you can't have propulsion in a vacuum."
What those skeptical journalists didn't know at the time was that Goddard had already proven his theory in the lab.
Incredible persistence and perseverance. He basically, most of his rockets failed, but he consistently pulled the broken pieces together.
He failed time and time again, but on March 16, 1926, Goddard took his rocket to his aunt's cabbage farm in Auburn, changing fantasy into real possibility.
He successfully launched the world's first rocket. It only lasted seconds and went about a couple hundred feet down range, and yet it was really mankind's first attempt of leaving the planet.
Goddard discovered the key that unlocked the door to space travel as we know it.
And he also figured out how you could control thrust using nozzles. The nozzle patents were still employed by NASA to this day.
In 2023, the Goddard home was purchased by Charles Slatkin.
Didn't tell my wife. We're still married. I've been inspired by space as a young kid. I've a picture of me at 8 years old holding a rocket.
Slatkin has turned the home into a museum.
Buzz Aldrin, he takes with him this miniaturized version of Goddard's autobiography, Walks on the Moon. It's the only book that made it to the moon.
It is the first stop on a nationwide space trail, celebrating the history and future of space travel, an initiative brought to life by his nonprofit, The Wonder Project,
whose goal is to inspire more kids to experience the awe and wonder of science and space.
Committee member Philip Nidry, who grew up in the neighborhood, says it's a tribute to Goddard's multi-layered legacy.
Kids in the 60s really understood space and understood the complexities of it and were intrigued by it. If I talk to anybody under 40, most of them don't know who Robert Goddard is. So we need to get that word out. The future Goddards.
Both men say his legacy extends far beyond the skies.
Every child knows about the Wright brothers and Kitty Hawk, and yet the Wright brothers only helped humanity get off the ground. And Goddard and all those that carried the torch helped humanity get off the planet. 43 years after Goddard's first primitive test, we walked on the moon, and if that doesn't prove to you that anything's possible, nothing does.
Goddard passed away before American astronauts first landed on the moon in 1969, but his wife, Esther, who was a great supporter of his research, did watch it from their home in Worcester. And Worcester is gearing up to celebrate the 100th anniversary of Goddard's rocket launch next year.